Now we are going to discuss about the important concepts of OOPS, object oriented programming concepts. So in the name, in the expansion of OOPS itself, you could observe the object. So object plays a major role in object oriented programming concepts. So here we are going to distinguish between object and class. So first, before going into the technical details about the class and object, we will first try to evaluate the real life examples of class and object. So for example, if you are going to write an exam, for example 10th standard mathematical exam, so for that exam, you could get the blueprint from your teacher. Blueprint means it will try to include the number of 2 mark questions, number of 10 mark questions and number of 5 mark questions. So blueprint is the blueprint. Using the blueprint, actual question papers would be created. So blueprint is the actual class. So we can relate the blueprint with the class, the actual question papers with the object. So objects are real entities, whereas classes are logical entities. So this is the first real life example. Second real life example is, suppose if you are going to construct a house, then first you will try to draw the blueprint on a paper. Using the blueprint only, actual house would be built. So here the blueprint can be considered as a class and that actual house can be considered as an object. Using that blueprint, you could create n number of houses. So similarly, technically, using one class, you can create n number of objects. You can create n number of similar objects. So each object need not to be dependent on another object. That's the important point. So let's come to the technical definitions. Logical component is class, whereas physical entity is object. So anything which can be physically made, which can be physically sensed, is called object. So we can consider an example called, this is called technical example. If you consider phone is a class, then phone is a logical entity and phone has some properties like price, screen size, battery capacity, OS type and etc. So the objects can be created. Now we can consider this phone class as a blueprint. Using this blueprint, you could create n number of objects. So the n number of objects are Samsung Galaxy phone, Vivo V9 phone, iPhone. These are the actual physical entities or actual physical objects which are created using phone class blueprint. So let us consider these two raw objects, iPhone 8 and then Vivo V9. So in iPhone 8 properties are price 60,000, battery capacity 1820 milliamps, OS type iOS 12. Whereas the properties for Vivo V9 are price 17,000, battery capacity 3260, OS Android 8.1. So here the properties are very specific to object. So every object has its own properties. So one object doesn't depend on another, doesn't need not to be dependent on other object properties. So that's the basic difference between the class and object. An object can be independent, it need not to be dependent on other objects, whereas class is a blueprint which is a logical entity. Using that logical entity, you could create n number of physical objects. So that's the major differences between class and object.